So, you guys might be wondering, Raquel, why are you in this super lavish robe with a cowboy hat on in what seems like a hotel room? Well, that's because I'm here in Austin, Texas for Jackalope Live Action Studios' The Night in Question 2021. This is the third time I'm attending this event, and boy oh boy, we have a lot to talk about. So, The Night in Question is a really amazing vampire LARP that is put on by Jackalope once a year, and it's essentially a illegal rave in the outskirts of Austin, Texas, and a bunch of freaking humans go, thinking it's just gonna be a good night on the town. What they don't realize is that it's actually a trap set by vampires to turn them into a vampire army. All except for one, who would be the lone survivor to tell the tale to the Camarilla vampires. Now, obviously, this is based off of Vampire the Masquerade lore, and The Night in Question is something referenced in the lore, and so we are playing out that storyline. And it is very, very fun. It is criminally fun. Now, on my YouTube channel, I did a review and kind of a walkthrough of my story the first time I went to the event back in 2018. God, this seems like 1,000 years ago now. I played a sorority girl, and now that was the very first run ever of the game. So I was part of the sorority, and there was me and one other chick. That was it. But for the second year, which was in 2019, the sorority was fully full out. It was it had Chads and Brads, it had cheerleaders, everything. It was truly phenomenal. So this year, it's again the same narrative, the same characters, but of course everybody's playing a different role, including myself. Last year, I played the head of the Poser Goths. Her name was Veronica. She was horrific, terrible person, and she ended up dying and becoming a Toreador vampire and living forever as a horrible, beautiful bitch. So, it went down pretty well, I guess, for her. This year, I am playing Serena Sundance, the Witness. Now, actually, in the player's guide, which I'm going to link down in the description below, in the player's guide, the Witness is actually a notable character because they are the lone human to survive. That's it. They're the only one that walks in and out of this game alive and human. That's it. And so, essentially, my part in the game is that I get to witness everything that's happened. All of my friends getting massacred or turned into vampires, and then possibly being further massacred or running off into the night to become part of a vampire war, or, I just, sit catatonically in the corner watching all the horrors that will befall me later. So essentially, I witness everything that happens throughout the night, and I am then dominated, or it's another way to say hypnotized for Vampire the Masquerade people. I am dominated to not speak about the night at all. When the cops find me in the morning, in the lore of the game, I cannot speak to them, and the only ones that can undo that is another vampire from the Camarilla, which are the prissy vampires that are very, fancy and nice. So I have gotten here on Thursday night, and obviously the game is on Friday. So tomorrow is the first round of character workshops, which are fabulous. They're super good. It's a really great way for an icebreaker for you to get to know your other players, get really comfortable with your character and whatnot. And then Saturday is the big day. Those are the mandatory workshops where you have to go, otherwise you are not going to the game, because they talk about all the consent mechanics and everything that you can and cannot do and how the game works. You also get a wristband that will be delineated as red, yellow, green. Red meaning that you have no interest in any physical roleplay. Yellow meaning maybe, please ask, and green being definitely come up to me and let's do it. I tend to wear 2 green wristbands, one on each arm, so people know that I am very, very ready for any and all physical roleplay. I mean, hey, I came here for a good time, not a long time. So I wanted to, kind of do this preemptive video talking about what the game is and whatnot. And like I said, I did cover a lot of the more detailed mechanics in my previous video, along with like what happened back in 2018. But of course, you know, with the pandemonium going on, this is a vaccinated only LARP. So only those who have been fully vaccinated can come. That's it. That's the rules. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you don't have a vaccination card, you're not allowed in. This is also a completely dry LARP, so you are not allowed to take part in any substances before attending the actual game. If you are found to be under the influence during the game, you will be removed. The reason for that, of course, is that they feel a lot of the topics that we touch during the LARP, which can deal with some very like dark themes such as substance abuse. It could be verbal abuse, bullying, you know, religious trauma, and of course just murder and like massacring. You know, they want everybody to be in their right mind to do so, and I think that's a wonderful decision that the Jackalope team has made. It allows us to go boldly into the dark. It allows us to deal with dark themes in a really safe way, because everybody's an adult, everybody's in their right mind, and therefore everybody can make their own consent rules. So I have been traveling a lot of the day today. I am super tired. I actually went today and helped out set up the camp. I'm gonna B-roll. It was a really great time. You know, we set up lights and put up posters and whatnot. It was super fun, and I'm really excited to get to see how it's going to come to life by Saturday. So, yeah, this is my Thursday check-in, and the next time I see you guys, I'm going to be covered in blood, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Hey, everybody. I just got done with the 2021 night in question, and I am messed up. You guys, being the witness was a great experience. Really, truly being the only human, this is what this little glow stick is for, making it out alive was an honor and a privilege. And I know many of you that I played with tonight are gonna watch this video, and I want to tell every single one of you, I had an amazing time. Don't worry, I know you're not bad people. All of you were amazing. And also, personally, thank you to every single person that came up to me before game and after game that thanked me for just being me and my content. Truly. My voice is shot, so if I sound like I'm 5 octaves deeper, that is why. I'm going to give you guys a rundown of this the best I can, because holy hell, a lot happened. So, as I already described the premise of the game, I think I'm going to just get into it. So, the game is broken up into 4 acts. So, Act 1, everything's totally normal. Act 2, people start to disappear and become vampires and come back into the party, and like people start to realize something's not right. Act 3, everything goes to hell and the vampires start feeding on everybody like crazy. And then Act 4 is kind of like, you know, all the new vampires get initiated and like fights break out, and a monomancy pit, which is literally like a vampire fighting pit, happens and everything like that. So, Serena Sundance went through it. Boy, oh boy, she went through it. Does it look like I went through it? Because I went through it. I mean, hell, holy crap. Honestly, wig stayed on the whole time. Flower crown stayed on till I ripped it off at the very end. Very impressed. I was like, wow, okay, I pinned it decently enough for once. When we went into the game, you know, Serena got on the dance floor. She was just vibing, man. She was doing some, you know, illicit substances and just having a good time with her friends. Because she was one of the just, like, party people, right? She'd been in the scene for a while and, like, she knew some of the other party people, right? But, like, they were friends, right? Especially Zoe. Zoe, I think, was Serena's best friend. I think the player, Rachel, and guys, by the way, if I can put pictures, I will be putting pictures. I don't know when the pictures are going to be released, so I'm just going to, if they're here, I'm going to throw them up. Big shout out to Rachel. You were amazing. Thank you so much for everything. So Serena and Zoe were really good friends, and like Zoe had this premonition that like, oh, they had to be at this party tonight, so they went and they were having a good time. And the first act really was like, I just got to mingle with a bunch of people. Serena just was her sweet self to everybody. I think this was the first character I didn't really do. I basically did no intimacy, like beyond like touching people and hugging them and maybe rubbing their back if they were crying. But like there was like no romance with this character, which is a pretty good contrast from my first Night in Question character. But yeah, so I did a lot of dancing and talking with just a lot of folks there. And then as Serena was dancing, this big dude, played by, you know, of course, Larp runner Matt Webb, comes up to Serena and is like, hey, we need to talk to you. And at first she started to sweat. She's like, oh my God, is this an undercover cop? Like, am I screwed? Oh my God, please don't tell me I'm about to get arrested. Holy crap. And then, you know, he brings her to this guy in all black. Like he looked like Morpheus, but vampire. Like, you know, white dude, but he was super great. His name's Dane. He actually did the workshops here. So if I have any other footage of Dane, I will like point him out. But he sat me down and started asking me these questions like, you know, you've been chosen. And I'm like, oh, chosen for what? Are you like with the film crew? Serena was like, he was like, well, yeah, I guess. I was like, are you like with MTV? And he's like, and he asked me like, do you know the 7 sacraments and the 7 deadly sins? And I was like, no, I'm not religious. And he was like, perfect. He's like, where did you know, he's like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I work at a flower shop with my mom, you know, super sweet. Oh boy. And that was it. He sent me back into the wild. And like, Serena started to notice some people were peering, like leering at her, which made her very uncomfortable. But she kind of like, you know, took some more illicit substances and kind of just went on her way. The band played. There was actually a live band, which kudos to all of you. Playing live, especially at a LARP, that's super hard, and that takes a lot of guts. And you guys were awesome, and you actually were, like, you sounded great. And the band actually, hold on, I'm gonna get up. Yeah. The band actually gave me a CD. And they actually addressed this to me, like if I open up the CD case, it says Raquel, and they had all signed it. I'm going to be using this music as the background music for this video, so you will probably end up hearing it. But it was super cool, and the lead singer and I had connected during the workshops as like a random tie, and we had it so that like I loved her music, and she just like she just hated my guts. And so Serena, after the band was done playing, went up to the lead singer to say like, hey, I thought you did such a good job. Like, I was really into your music. She was like right at the front, like cheering and dancing. And the lead singer was like, well, I think you're a loser. She's like, you don't get the gift. And of course, Serena at this point was like, I'm sorry, what? Of course, the singer was already a vampire. But Serena's just like, dude, why are you like killing my vibe, bro? I was like, I just came over here to tell you that you were like good at performing, telling me I suck. Like, okay, like who hurt you? Which was great. And I ended up talking to the band manager, who was the one that gave me the CD in game, and I went up to her and I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, your lead singer is a like total asshat. I'm out of here. Like, screw your band. And I gave back the CD that they had handed me in game, but of course I'm keeping it out of game. They all signed it. It's super cool. And then Zoe came up to me and was like, hey, I need to go sign some paperwork. I just got this really great job. And like Zoe, you know, Zoe's character was basically homeless. And so like going couch surfing. So like she had been staying at my character's house and whatnot, in and out and whatever. And you know, my character was like, paper? I'm like, okay, this sounds like really sketch, but like, okay, Zoe, like, I'll go with you. It's super sketchy. And so, of course, Zoe brings Serena over to, the guy that's offering the job. And, like, I wish I knew this dude's name in and out of game. I don't know. He was so tall and had this, like, black and white wig and the makeup. He was so pale. And, of course, we knew that in game there was, like, a movie being filmed. So a lot of the initial, like, shock of seeing, like, very inhuman-looking people was just, like, oh, yeah, they're probably with the movie. It's fine. But Serena was like, whoa, this guy's, like, scary as fuck. Like, really terrifying guy. And so she's like, stop, Zoe, are you... I don't know if this is... And so... eventually, Zoe's like, yeah, well, I'd feel more comfortable if you came with me to sign the papers. And I'm like, okay, like, you're my friend, like, we'll go together, right? Well, they were leading Zoe to be turned into a vampire, and so, I follow Zoe out into, like, the grave area, and I get greeted by all the people, and so, like, Serena's all of a sudden, like, okay, whoa, what is going on here? This looks like a cult. Like, what is happening? This is super sketchy. Zoe, I don't like this. We need to leave. And of course, the vampire started to compel her, like, oh no, you want to stay. You want to stay, and actually you're pretty calm. So I stayed. And I watched Zoe get her neck, like, bitten out while I was given the whole preacher scripter kind of thing by, like, the head grave guy, which, oh my god, I'm so sorry I'm forgetting his character's name. If I will place all the names of all the characters below. I literally just got back, so I'm doing my best to recount this as best as possible before I forget it. And oh my god, they push Zoe into the grave, and then they push me into the grave, and so, like, Zoe's like, oh my god, Serena, like, I promise, like, you're gonna get out of this alive, like, I promise I'm gonna be here for you, like, I promise, and I'm sitting there screaming my head off, like, kicking and screaming in this, like, dark hole with Zoe. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Oh my god, and then Zoe stops breathing. I start to scream at the top of my lungs. And then Zoe starts to breathe again. And I'm like, oh my god, you're okay. They're not okay. They're super not okay. They're a vampire now. And so I get out of the grave. I burst out screaming and crying. And Zoe gets up. And then I am compelled to forget everything. Everything that just happened. Just boop. I'm going back into the party. But Serena still feels very unsettled. Like, she knows... She doesn't know what, but she's like, did I have, like, a bad trip or something? She's like, I'm not feeling right now. Like, this doesn't feel good. Like, this party is whack. Like, I need to get the heck out of here. Which was, oh my god, it was incredible. And, like, I started, people that were turning into vampires were starting to, like, sniff my flower crown and creep and stalk me. It was really great. I got on the dance floor again, as I always do. I always dance at these LARPs. I know sometimes it can be really intimidating to get on the dance floor, so I always made sure I would be out there so that other people would feel comfortable being out there. So I'm really glad for every single one of you that joined me, either with me or after me. So glad you guys just danced up. Don't matter if you know how or not. Just do the thing. I go on the dance floor and, I just start dancing for a while. And eventually, the signifier for Act 3, where the vampires can just go crazy, is the song Ballroom Blitz, as you guys know from my previous video. And Ballroom Blitz starts to play. And it was terrifying. All of a sudden, people on the dance floor, like friends of mine, are getting attacked, and I'm, like, freaking out. I'm trying to freaking run, and a couple of players are, like, trying to, like, catch me and restrain me. I book it, as I always do. I booked it, and I did a couple of really, really fun stage falls. Like, I did some tumbles and rolls and falls, and trying to get away desperately from the vampires that were chasing me. And, like, Serena at first was in denial, like, what is going on? And was like, what's happening or whatever. And these vampires corner her back by the grave area. And, again, names are going to be at the bottom. I'm doing my best to try and remember everybody's names, but names will be at the bottom. And I get cornered, and I make a break for it. Of course, everything that I'm talking about, by the way, this has like been negotiated. Like none of these things were just spur of the moment. Everybody asked for consent. I try and make a break for it. Of course, I do not succeed, and I get dragged back into the party. I start screaming at other people that like, this isn't safe. Like you need to get out of here. Of course, they're already in La La Land or already turned into a vampire. And it was really fascinating. Watch every single one of these red glow sticks get taken off over the course of the night. Because in the beginning, we all have these. And then by the end, obviously, I am the only one left with one of these red human signifying glow sticks. So I started trying to warn people not to. A couple of my friends come up to me and they're like, hey, like, this is really sketch. Like, everybody's starting to fight each other. Like, we need to get out of here. And I'm like, yeah, we totally need to get out of here. And, we kind of like stick together for a minute. I'm constantly getting separated by people because like the vampires are now trying to like close in on me. And the massacre is just going on. And eventually, to stop me from running, they literally hook a chain through me, if you get what I mean. Like through my hip, okay? Not the belt, the hip. And I'm being pulled physically by this chain in my body. And of course, some people, once they realize, like, oh man, we can't kill her, but we can taste her. I got passed around like a vampire sippy cup, which was awesome. And my character was still on illicit substances, so all of them were also role-playing being out of their minds, which was great. And then we, oh my god, it's so much. I'm doing my best, guys. And then, basically, I get chased around, I get tortured, a couple of people come and twist the hook in me, and I scream, and I cry, I'm begging to be let go, I don't want to die, I don't want to be killed, and, you know, Serena doesn't really believe them when they say that they're not going to kill her. She doesn't believe it. She thinks it's a lie, she thinks she's screwed. And as she's seeing more and more people just become these absolute monsters, you know, constantly being dragged around and forced to witness these horrible things, they kept telling her, like, you're supposed to see it all. You're the one that's supposed to witness everything. You'll be safe. You'll make it out alive because you have to tell the tale. It was so creepy. And, like, at this point, I start rapidly interacting with people. So, like, if I don't remember names, if I don't remember, like, people, I'm doing my best because I have literally interacted with the entire Larp tonight, which was like 100 people. So I'm not going to know everybody's names. And I'm getting dragged around and this thing twisted inside of me. It hurt so bad. And eventually the blood rave starts. So the music is going, like, it's strobe lights, and they push me into the center. And they're like, dance. And, like, I gotta tell you guys, okay? I know you guys know because you're on this channel and you clearly follow me. I go to a lot of LARPs, all right? I've been all over this country in the United States LARPing. I've been overseas LARPing, okay? There was truly nothing I've ever experienced like that. Like, I am in the center of this thing, and it's packed. It's packed with people, okay? Like, all I can see everywhere around me is just people. And the strobe is going, and they're laughing at me, and they're throwing blood on me, and, like, it was just the most horrific, like, perfect scene. Like, it literally felt like I was in Blade. It was incredible. I was, like, my character was shitting their pants. It was incredible. Thank you to everybody. Thank you. Amazing. There was these bodies that came out overhead, and I'm, of course, screaming and crying, and like these intestines are dangling in front of my face, and they literally go, eat it. And then everybody starts chanting, and again, a lot of people, eat it. And I have to put it in my mouth because I have no other choice, and I pretend to vomit and everything like that. It was just, oh, it was so good. And then, you know, Serena doesn't know that, like, what the heck is going on. She doesn't know these people. She doesn't know vampires or, like, the rituals or whatever. So, as the blood rave ends, the main, like, leader, played by Dane, the main leader, he comes out again, which, of course, Serena recognizes him and was like, oh, no. She's like, oh, no, I was picked I was picked by him to survive. Oh, this is horrible. I hate this, right? And she's forced to like witness and sit there on her knees and whatever. And it was scary. It was scary. I you know, the witness is definitely a role not meant for everybody. Like, you got to be willing to really be able to sink into the helplessness and to lift people up. I think what really made me happy and made me just thrive was as I was whimpering and crying and huddling away from people and screaming, "Don't touch me!" and everything. It was just seeing people's freaking faces light up. That any little action was causing me to be scared and pain. And I'm so happy I could bring that to people. And I hope that whoever takes this role on next year and forever after me, I hope that, you know, just commit. Just commit, man. You know? Because when you see other people, like, when you realize that all these other people are, like, buying in because of your actions, because of your fear, it was awesome, man. It was awesome. I'm sorry if I seem out of it. It's been a lot. So then after that, and after the blood rave, and after the announcements, like, people started to break up into groups. And so I started to be, like, pulled around to each to witness all of these horrible acts. People being murdered and eaten and whatever. They bring out this horrific creature that, if again, pictures I will post. I'll put in the video. This horrible creature, like, came out and started, like, coming up to me, played by Erica, one of the lovely staff members of Jackalope. And it was terrifying, and they're like, "Oh, hug it." So I was forced to hug this, like, monstrosity of a thing. It was horrible. I loved it. And then after that, I got thrown to a werewolf, even though the werewolf could not eat me, and I, like, backed away slowly and screamed and everything like that. And after, you know, everybody kind of did their clan initiations, I was, like, brought to the Monomancy Pit. And the Monomancy Pit, like I said, is just like a fight ring. It's like Fight Club, Vampire Fight Club. And the Sabbat are only allowed to kill Sabbat in that Monomancy Pit. Like, you cannot do that elsewhere. It's considered a crime. And I was forced to watch. I was forced to watch these people fight. It was horrible. I loved it. And then I was forced to kill somebody. And I hit them in the neck with an axe. And then they didn't die. So then they forced me with a chainsaw to cut off their head. And I'm going to tell you, like, I had been crying the whole night, but that I was so in it. I started bawling tears as I was, like, chopping this person's head off. It was incredible. It was so bad. Oh my God. Afterwards, after Serena, like, cut off this person's head, like, by then, she already knew that, like, they really weren't gonna hurt her. They really weren't. And so Serena started talking back to some of these vampires, and, like, I started to spit on them. I was saying, I hope the Camarilla wins. I hope they do find me. I can't wait to tell them everything. And everyone's like, well, you know, they're probably just gonna make you a pet. Horrible. I loved it. And essentially the rest of my night was viewing all of these amazing battles that all these other vampires were having with each other. Was actually really amazing. People sold it. That's super hard. That is super hard to go be the center of attention in a ring and do that. And honestly, kudos to everybody that decided to have a fight in the Monomancy Pit. You guys were great. You sold it. Every single one of you was fantastic. Good freaking job. And eventually, you know, I got pulled around a couple of times to see, like, more horrific stuff. I got to see some of my friends. Some of my friends tried to eat me. Which was also great. And then, honestly, I got pulled outside. And as I was being pulled out onto, like, this land bridge, because the place was going to go up in flames, all the vampires had to pass me. And, like, there were a few that were like, hey, like, screw you. And some that I spit at or gave the middle finger. And then there were a few that went and looked at me and just went, I'm sorry. Oh, that stuff was so good. Oh, very good. And as the place was set on fire, Serena took off her flower crown, and threw it towards the flames. That was it. That's really all I can remember right now. Being the witness is a very different experience. Like, it's super different than being like a normal human in the game, because usually you turn into a vampire and you get to experience the other half, what it's like on the other side. But this is the first time I didn't get that. I got to be a person the whole way through, and it was amazing. It was amazing feeling like I had all these connections in the beginning, and all these people were treating me like a person, and then all of a sudden I wasn't. I was an object. I was the witness. That's all I was meant to be. I have no feelings. They have no feelings. They're not human anymore. They don't care. You know? And like that was great. That was super, super, super great. So I wish all the best of luck to the next witness. And for once, out of 3 runs of this game, the witness has actually survived. I did not know that in the previous years the other witnesses have died. This year, I survived. So Serena Sundance made it out and is probably traumatized for life. So I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm going to go down to Afters and go hang out with people and probably take a really good drink. But yeah, so thank you so much again, Jackalope Studios. It's a pleasure working with you guys. Thank you to all of you who, you know, like I said, came up to me and played with me in game and spoke to me out of game and just hung out with me over the last couple of days. You're all fabulous, and I can't wait to see you next year. Bye, guys.